in check, keeping you obsessed. Play me on repeat, could up she in your head. Anytime it hurts, play another verse. I can be your sanctuary. No, I'm the only one right now. No, I will love you more when it all burns down. More than power, more than gold. Yeah, you gave me your heart, now I'm here for your soul. I'm the only one who'll love your sins. Feel the way my voice gets underneath your skin. Listen, cause I'm preaching to the choir. Can I get the mic a little higher? Give me your desire. I can be the star you rely on. Now I'm gonna cheat, hey, you can't look away. Don't you know I'm here to save you? Now we want it wild. Yeah, I'm all you need, I'ma be your idol. But you're not a fan, cause like, I'm your idol. Thank you for the pain, cause it got me going viral. Yeah, not you on a fever, making you a believer. Now you would enter an idol. Don't let it show, keep it all inside. The pain and the shame, keep it all inside. Your obsession, feels a connection. Ice and gun, give me all your attention. You know I'm the only one who'll love your sins. Feel the way my voice gets underneath your skin. Listen, cause I'm preaching to the choir. Can I get the mic a little higher? Give me your desire. I can be the star you rely on. Now I'm gonna cheat, you can't look away. Don't you know I'm here to save you? Now we want it wild. Yeah, I'm all you need, I'ma be your idol. Living in your minds now. Too late, cause you're mine now. I will make you free when you're all a part of me. Listen, cause I'm preaching to the choir. Can I get the mic a little higher? Give me your desire. Watch me set your world on fire. Now I'm gonna cheat, hey, you can't look away. No one is coming to save me. Now we want it wild. You're down on your knees, I'ma be your idol.
What am I hearing? No, I muted it. Alright, now I can hear you. Hi, Fastra. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
I was rereading book 4 real quick.
Yeah, continue doing that.
Because as you could have probably tell, I was falling asleep last time as we were doing it.
You
So,
were?
yeah.
I couldn't tell.
Remember when you said, like, oh, you kept moving on? It's because my thumb would start to droop.
I see. Do you like my macaroni and cheese, Fastra?
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, I gotta move from my laptop to my phone.
Oh, okay.
I like singing it in the wrong key.
Keeping you in check. Keeping you obsessed. Keeping the G in your head. What does he say?
Something like Keruchi.
What? What did you just say? Come on, Elgato. Show up. Come on now. I know you can do it. Stick aim at the... Whoa. What did I just hear? Alright. Yeah, I'm waiting for him to not... I muted him for now. That sounds awful. That is abysmal.
Goodness, sometimes your insight astounds me. I suppose there's a reason the phrase right under your nose exists. Let's try looking near Jack's house. I believe his residence was this way. Hurry!
Look out, ass! You're not taking another step!
You!
Miscreant!
Miscreant! Name Sparrow. You have a lot of nerve showing your face in front of us. What do you want with us? I don't suppose you're here to tell us where Jack is out of the goodness of your heart.
Nope, I promised Chloe I'd play with you until Halloween was over.
Whoa. Tetris?
Yes. Except I can't seem to hear it, which is strange.
Doctor Strange.
Yes. Yes.
Could you put like the screen of what I'm reading like really tiny in the corner?
If you start sharing it.
I thought I was. Yeah, it does
When did you start that?
like 5 minutes ago.
What about that muted guy?
He's good. He's muted.
You didn't keep your word when you promised me you wouldn't start any uproars, but you're willing to keep your word with Scully?
I don't remember saying that.
What an irksome little monster you are! You're in for the scolding of a lifetime!
Look where it put it.
Why is it there like that? Why is it a square?
Ghosts here seem so different from those of Twisted Wonderland. They're more freewheeling and cryptic than the ones in our world. They're extremely quirky. Nothing we say gets through to them at all. It's a huge hassle.
They're certainly pesky. We can't leave this. We can't even leave this area, much less search for Jack. Judging by our prior conversation, I doubt we can get this miscreant to tell us where Jack is. And even if we could, we've no way to gauge the veracity of his claims.
True. We'd be wasting our time trying to engage him as a group. Epple and I will handle this. Iria and Sebek, you two go on without us.
What? I need to punish this irksome miscreant. You should search for Scully instead.
Silence, Cucumber. Cucumber! It's clear that a lone Cucumber going up against a swarm of ghosts would get surrounded and thoroughly thrashed. Besides which, I'm tired of your company. You're loud and insufferable, not to mention rude. I trust you won't disappoint me with such behavior, Apple. Miri-san.
Yes, sir. I'll do my best and make myself useful. Though I might just steal your spotlight.
Bold words. You have my figurative sword as well. I don't want it. Weren't you listening? You're going with Sebek.
But I don't wanna. You're the only guy tired of being around him. You're not the only guy tired of being around him, you know?
What good would it do for two house wardens to both stay behind? Show the freshmen what leadership looks like. Oh, now I'm getting saddled with a huge chore. Being a house warden is way more trouble than it's worth.
While I take extreme umbrage at being passed around like some kind of hot potato, the fact remains we have no time for bickering. I shall leave this battle to you, humans.
Right on.
Uh-oh, those two are trying to yell at me and call me names. I better go after them quick.
That unmuted guy? Why does that unmuted guy keep becoming that unmuted guy? I can hear my echo of him, of it. Okay.
Not so fast. You won't be taking another step.
I don't have time to play with you guys.
Oh. I thought you were supposed to play with us until Halloween's over. Little Apple here has taken quite a shine to you. Play nice, won't you?
Yeah, Barrel. We've got plenty of time. You and I are gonna play a whole lot.
Wait, pause. I can't handle any more running. What? You want another break? You sat plenty when we were at Jack's house. Look, could you please not compare my stamina to that of a guy who's literally all muscle from head to toe? We've been running ourselves ragged, checking every single potentially suspicious spot near Jack's place. We haven't turned up any sign of Scully. But our search area has only been 100-meter radius around Jack's house.
It is hard to breathe.
What?
Like when you're voicing all characters and you don't have a breath.
You're doing great, Vistra.
What's your opinion about McDonald's on nuggets?
McDonald's what?
Nuggets, McNuggets.
What is all that extra sound I hear? Okay.
That old guy, why does this keep happening? What, are you accidentally pushing the unmute button or what's going on?
Maybe you need to call him that cookie guy.
It's spontaneously unmuted several times.
Why did my watch streak get messed up? Like, it used to be like 40.
Did they jip you out of your watch streak?
What? I've shown up to every single one of your streams. What happened? It says I've only done 2.
That is absurd.
What happened?
Did you miss a stream?
No, I've been at every one. The past few have all been Twisted streams, and I've had the stream open all of them those times.
Yeah, that's kind of sus.
I
Of
should
Twitch.
complain to John Twitch.
That's a good idea. I was gonna recommend that, but you took the words out of my mouth.
That cookie guy spontaneously unmuted again.
It's such a
This time I turned it
habit.
on.
Oh, he became that unmuted guy on his own volition. I tried to apply for FSP, but their Google form was closed. Do you know what FSP is, Dat Cookie Guy?
First sweet turtles.
I'll give you a hint. It has to do with VTubers.
FST like clocks.
What?
Was the first letter F?
Yeah.
What's the FST?
No.
FSP.
Oh. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
I don't know.
Exactly what I was thinking.
I don't know.
Oh, for
Yes.
Yes.
it's always something with you, isn't it? We don't have time to pause. Huh? Why are you crouching down in front of me like you're gonna... Oh!
I'll carry you on my back. You can rack your brain for ideas in the meantime.
So I'm stuck on a piggyback ride until I can come up with some genius idea? I don't like running, but I take issue with this too. And I can't exactly conjure up inspiration on demand. Okay, let's see. What if we change up our angle of approach? Like, I don't know, if we can't find Scully, we can flush him out instead.
Flush him out? I hadn't considered that. Of course, someone who never leaves the house would have a completely different perspective. Your reclusive nature is coming in handy for once.
Uh-huh.
I can think of several ways to force him out of this hole. Fire, inundation, a smoke attacks, starvation tactics.
Preferably something less violent and more short-term. Okay, thanks.
In that case, I should shout criticisms of Jack.
What? Why?
Speaking in purely hypothetical terms, describing a scenario that I hope would never ever actually come to pass. If I heard someone speaking ill of Wakasama, I absolutely would not let it go unchallenged. I would never give such scoundrels a I would give such scoundrels a thorough lecture about Malice's greatness and make them take their disrespect well. If Scully's respect for Jack is genuine, then surely he would have to do the same for Jack. With that settled, stop. Think this through, Sebek. If you raise your voice here, quit thrashing on my back. Sit still and stay put. My hip bone. I'll consider it a plus that I got out of the involuntary piggyback ride, but oh crud. Jack Skellington, do you hear me, you worthless assemblage of bones? How could you let yourself be kidnapped by Scully of all people? Some master of Halloween you are!
Dude, no way. Did he seriously get mad and come out over that? Oh no, more ghosts! Fresh batch, it seems. They're royally peeved. This is your fault for thrashing Jack so loudly, Sebek. I can't argue. We can't do anything if we don't get this out of this mess first. Hide!
Hey, you got all the voices.
Because doesn't this seem familiar?
Yes.
Because I'm rereading it because I was falling asleep last time as we were doing it.
How's that possible?
Because my mind was still so alert that I would be able to, move along the dialogue and respond if I saw a character on my screen. But like my mind wasn't fully there. Do you know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Yes. Except in my case,
Yeah.
I just sleep.
Beat it, beat it, beat it, beat it, beat it.
The ghosts aren't showing any signs of leaving. If anything, they're building in numbers.
We can't hide here forever. If we don't do something, those insults will never be disproven. Entirely unacceptable. I'll handle the ghosts. Idia, you search for Scully in the meantime.
What? Dude, absolutely not. There's no way you can handle that many. Have you already forgotten what Vil said? You'll get surrounded and thoroughly thrashed.
I refuse to shy away from a challenge just because it looks difficult, and the outcome is hardly clear until I try.
No, let's be clear. You're gonna lose, guaranteed, 100%. It's impossible, as in literally not possible. Dashing yourself on the rocks of an unwinnable battle is beyond pointless. If you want to indulge in the trope of a weakling going into battle with the odds stacked against them, do it on your own and don't involve me.
Did you just call me a weakling?
Let's not get violent. You're gonna rip off my bow tie.
How dare you call me a weakling? This insult shall not stand!
Okay, but you are. I mean, sure, you've got stamina for days, but your magic could use some work, right? You're freshman level at very best, basically on par with guys like Apple or Scully. First I thought maybe you're just hopeless with strategy, the way you were firing spells head-on at ghosts that could easily dodge them. But it's actually because you're bad at controlling your magic, isn't it? I can tell you're the type that's high output and low control. I don't want to hear about matters of pride from a guy who can't or won't openly acknowledge his own skill issue.
Tuka, tuka, tuka. Tuka.
That I could hear. It was like you I guess turning up the volume or something
Well,
on your
what do you want
monitor.
from me?
Can it still hear us?
Yes, now it can.
Oh yay, it's back.
But my OBS had crashed. It said, whoops, OBS crashed.
Yeah, I saw the thing on the stream with the person with the head in their hands. Oh wait, let me do something.
That cookie guy
Alright.
is eating a cookie.
Oh, nice.
I'm doing this for myself because I'm real thirsty.
You see my hydrate time?
Oh, yes. I have hydrated.
Stick Amethyst, have you gotten any notifications about an order that should be coming around soon? Because I have my notifications off because the stream is looking at my phone. Okay.
What do you want from me?
I know I'm taking over your characters just real quick so then we can read it a little faster so we can get caught up to what we already read. And then you'll have your characters back. Say, okay, I eat my cookie.
Okay, I eat my cookie.
Thanks.
I know better than anyone I'm not strong enough. I'm reminded of it every day I spend training. The last thing I want is to say I didn't even try just because I wasn't strong enough.
If you're asking what I want.
Wait, what was it? Like Christmas Bob, 747 Fastra redeemed hydrate time 300.
I copied and pasted the message.
What the?
This is why Phil sent me along, right?
What?
You go on without me. I'll handle things here.
Yeah. Why are you suddenly acting so theatrical?
Dude, come on. I just wanted to be the stoic go on without me. I got this guy. The cooler thing for you to do would have been to go, I owe ya, and then run off dramatically.
You're the one who's been whining nonstop for breaks. Of course talking heroically out of nowhere would throw me for a loop.
Well, that's the deal regardless.
It says they're on their way. Okay, thanks. Thanks for letting me know. I will be on the lookout.
If you want to prove Bill wrong about you, you don't exactly have time to band your words with me.
It still says you're playing Tetris 99.
Oh, yeah.
If I could still get text from them, Stick, then they would show up on the stream and dox me. So, yeah.
Get going and do your heroics or whatever. I don't want to run anymore.
Is that your real motivation?
Yeah, it's like I said, don't compare me to a muzzlehead like you.
Now I feel like a fool for being moved.
It should probably be okay, Stick. Because then we'd have to, like, sit here and, like, wait for them to, like, you know, and stop the stream. Because then we'd have to look at cheese, you know?
Mm.
You're truly irksome. I find your company less bearable by the moment.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Let's get one thing straight. This is the last time I will ever do as you say, Ningen!
Yeah. Run along now. He's finally gone. Normally, I could absolutely not be bothered to give something like this a serious effort. Way too much hassle. Throw in, welcome in. Hydrate time.
Can you hear my water bottle?
Stay hydrated, y'all. Thanks.
It's a water bottle from the station at where whence I work. We're doing a bit of rereading because I was a bit sleepy because of work last time we were doing this, so we're just quickly rereading and then we're gonna catch back up to where we were and read the last book of The Avenge.
Speaking of station, Fastra, I just got back to station.
Nice. You should ask Throwlin about if he saw any dogs.
Did you see any dogs, Throwlin?
But it'd be a pretty bad look if I didn't win after sending Sevek on his way. With that in mind, guess I'll show you guys the difference in our power levels. Yes, I've always wanted to say that.
Hey, I missed that last time. I don't remember him saying that.
いい度胸が終わりだ。
血が騒ぐ。踊らせてやる。俺に勝てると思ったのだ。
俺に勝てると思った。Oops. Stop. Pearl has something to say.
What?
Pearl commented.
Saw a lot of dogs, and the same 2 dogs that I was playing fetch with, the other dogs. Every dog I ran into was super friendly. Oh, that's awesome. You're playing fetch?
Yeah,
I'm glad you're able to see
I've,
friendly dogs.
For me, I've only encountered one dog that wanted to play fetch with me. Like, it was like with a tennis ball or something. It was just so cute. Like, I think this was back at, not at the station I'm at now, it was at my previous station. And so I threw the tennis ball once, and then it ran after, and, you know, came back to me. But, you know, I had already finished delivering at that point. And then, so I threw it one more time, and then it just kind of watched me leaving with the ball in its mouth, and I felt so sad.
Aww. That sounds really cute.
Thanks for the update, Stick.
I meant to put dat after other, but I'm sure you knew what I meant. And then day. Oh, Throwlin, you're a mess.
Might have star.
He's for showing that he's correcting himself.
Oh, I thought it was like blurring out a curse word.
No.
Okay. The argument with like Malleus and Leona, that's what I missed the most. I'm like, wait, what? Why are they getting all mad at Trey? What? I was just very, very confused.
Yeah.
For some, I looked at Thurlin's comment and I thought he was talking about like Donkey Kong Country. Like
What?
Super Mario. My mind just filled in. It was like, what, the Donkey Kong Country?
That's such a random thing. Throwlin, why'd you bring up Donkey Kong Country? Explain yourself.
Can you please put a picture of Donkey Kong Country on the screen?
Super long day, but we got it done. Them country areas are no joke. Good job on conquering the country areas. Even if they weren't Donkey Kong Country.
You probably would have gotten some free bananas if you went on the Donkey Kong Country route.
I have to save the image in order to put it in OBS.
Save it! Save the Donkey Kong Country image.
Ah, jeez, Louise.
It's worth it. Yes! There it is! That's the route that Throwlin went on today.
Hey, Donkey Kong and I were hanging out earlier, and he gave me a boost on my route. Let's go! Donkey Kong is a real one like that.
Donkey.
He's so
Were
real
you
for that.
Were you listening to the Donkey Kong Country soundtrack? It's one of the best video game soundtracks.
Yes.
It has such relaxing and really epic music.
Yes. This Donkey DKC soundtrack goes hard. Fastra is cultured for saying that.
Bum bum. Bum 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 bum.
Oh yeah.
Bum bum. Dun 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 There we go. That's my performance.
Woo!
The best ever.
Thank you, thank you. Throlin had the speakers.
Yes, we had the speakers blasting while throwing the packages like barrels. Woo! Woo!
So, he played applause.
Yes, because you're singing, even though that cookie guy was kind of delayedly adding on to it.
That's okay. I had to like block it out and just focus so I wouldn't get off time.
Yeah. So is the woes of not trying to sing with others on Discord or FaceTime.
Mm-hmm.
It's always delayed. It's always delayed.
Thought I picked up some traces, but they turned out to be Halloween Town local. What a waste of time that was. They were in too much of a tizzy over Jack being missing to even say whether they'd seen Scully. Then a certain lizard freaked him out even worse, and they all ran before I could get anything useful out of them.
Have a safe journey home, Throlin.
Oh. Well, I shall catch back up on the stream, about to head home here. Alrighty. Good luck, Mr. Throlin.
Can you think of anything more annoying, Trey?
And who is to blame for this wasted time? If we wanted to question the locals, we should have done as I suggested and enshrouded the city in magic so that no one could escape. Isn't it a pity that someone wouldn't listen to my sensible advice, Clover?
Guys, could you please not use me as an intermediary for your arguments? Let's start by discussing how we're going to look for Scully. After all, the three of us are all here together. For one thing, do we have any idea why Scully would abduct Jack to start with? Doesn't he idolize Jack Skellington? It's probably because he idolized him. Jack Skellington was putting our opinions over his at pretty much every turn. Understandable why that might rub someone's fur the wrong way.
Truly, but did he not say that he accepted our idea of Halloween?
Are you serious? It's easy to say something without actually meaning it. He was pretty defeated back there. Kept sighing to himself and everything. Really? If you noticed that, you could have tried to cheer him up a bit. Leo was on top of that every time it came up. No reason for me to step in. But I wasn't expecting a hassle this big to come out of it. That stupid badger's a real nuisance.
Scully's pretty stupid, alright. Just like you guys.
Jock? What are you doing here? Well, I'll be. One of Skellington's kidnappers came to face us all alone. You're brave, I'll give you that.
Scully says you guys want to play with me.
Whoa, she just leapt on Malleus's head again.
You want to play that bad? I guess I'll tell you about. Got any games in mind?
You letting a little brat tug at your horns? What a nice guy you are. Leonard, this is not the time to have a laugh at his expense.
Delivered.
Delivered. Okay, let me check. It's all here.
Nice.
But they put my tangerines right on the ground.
They put your tangerines directly on the ground?
Yeah, they didn't put it in a bag or anything. The tangerines were in their standard like red bag, you know, with the holes in it, and it was just on the.
Ah, sus.
Too sussy.
Sus alert. All 8 items? Yes. I will comment about that. Do you have all 8 items?
What?
Do you have all 8 items?
I'm checking it out to make sure it's all here. Can you show the cheese screen while I take a picture of my items?
Okay. Uncrustables.
Yeah, that's my favorite flavor.
Nice.
No, the game refreshed. Are you still there? Oh.
I don't see your stream, Listra. Are the frozen items still at least partially frozen?
Yeah. They still feel like pretty cold to the touch. Beep 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 beep.
What?
Can you believe I've had like 10 turkey sandwiches this week?
10 turkey sandwiches?
I've been eating them every day, trying to finish off the turkey.
Uh-huh. What about the ham? Combine it with the ham.
I tried. I like took it out and it just smelled bad. And what the? Do you see the screen?
Yes. It's really tiny.
Why is it doing this?
Honestly, really tiny Azul. He was so like proud of himself. Oh. It's really small, Phil.
Here he is. Oh no, I can't hit my. Oh, there we go.
He's the one who belongs in this small realm.
Alright,
chat, choose for me. What should I have? The classic chicken panlanganana bowl, the Salisbury steak, the Swedish meatball bowl, or the cheesy chicken and rice bowl?
Where are you getting all these options from?
My order.
Store.
I'm hungry. All I've had today is 2 turkey sandwiches and a bag of Doritos.
Oh, yeah. Salisbury steak, says that old guy.
Okay.
Story を選んでください。
Okay, let me show cheese for just a second while I get the game back to normal.
It's so awesome like this, though.
Okay, cut film to vent, cook on high for 4 minutes. Stir potatoes, rotate steak, clockwise 1/2 turn, recover. These instructions aren't comprehending in my mind.
Oh no.
Instead, I'll eat a Hershey bar.
Hershey bar?
Yeah.
That's a good choice. Twisted Wonderland.
エペルさんが魔女とほうきで
Oh,
飛ぶ
he's
速
not
さを
tiny
競ってい
anymore.
ました不気味な街でも無邪気にはしゃげる神経に感嘆します
Okay. I cut the holes to vent. Now I shall start this for 4 minutos.
Okay.
Okay, in the meantime, you can go back. Oh wait, my LP's full since when? Nah.
さあ行くぞ。やっと終わった。
Oops.
試験には全力で挑む。
Mo Scoshi desu.
So many step sounds.
Yeah. Hold on, Malleus. I'll get shock off you, so...
I can't ever let you grab me.
Come on now, bees. Be good and do as we... Ugh, she gave me the slip. Leona, help me out here.
Atta girl, Shock. Keep it up.
I encourage her.
Your name is Shock, is it? I may be lenient, but even my patience has its limits. 1 slight I could overlook, but 2? I shall make you rue the day you ever crossed me.
Lucius, 少し下がっています。
あるね
俺もそうする。サポートだ。実力の差だ。
別の差だ。
身の程をわきま
自分たちの勉強不足。
What's the matter? I thought you wanted to play with me.
Did you know you can get on... You can ask for the English dub Malleus, like, to do a personal greeting on, like, Cameo or whatever that thing is?
Yeah.
I got to hear him like, we wish someone a happy birthday. So it's like the longest I heard English dub Malleus speak. He sounds nice.
Oh.
They casted well.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for the stretching time, Stick Amethyst. I just stretched.
Come now, don't be shy. I'll be more than happy to play your game.
Alias, stop! Don't get so bent out of shape over a child. Haven't you scared her enough?
Enough? Surely you're joking, Clover. Mannerless curs deserve far more punishment than this.
No, seriously. If you keep this up, it's going to go way beyond punishment.
Even if it did, is there any reason that should concern us?
You bet your hide there is. Remember what Jack Skellington said? He said he wanted to hold Halloween with everyone in Halloween Town. That includes this kid. If you hurt her to the point that she can't take part in Halloween, Skellington's not gonna thank us for saving him. He could easily turn on us instead.
They started this dispute, not us. I'm certain Skellington would understand once we explained our side.
Okay. I hear the microwave beeping. My steak is ready. Ragik, can you get it for me?
Yeah. Do you want me to cut it up?
Yes. That would be nice.
Alright, give me a sec here.
Sir, the potatoes. I don't like potatoes.
But you should have them.
I'll eat them because I'm starving.
Oh, yeah.
The consistency gives me the ick.
I see.
And so it doesn't say anything about the macaroni, just leave it as it is, okay. Okay, Kirk, an additional, if it says 2.5 to 3.5 minutes, would you just go 3 minutes? Or would you go 3.5 to be safe?
I guess 3.5, the higher one. 2.
Okay.
And a half.
Okay, let me see if I've got this straight. If it was someone from your kingdom and they got injured, you'd instantly agree it was their own fault, no argument at all.
What a troublesome situation. Shock, in honor of your king, Jack Skellington, I shall stay my hand.
Because it has been out of freezer for a while.
Well, I already put it for 3.5. That way I won't get any stomach bugs.
Ah, yes.
I
Yes.
just think Ellie's dead. Why is this happening to me? It's not fair.
Shock's running away. In her defense, it's pretty messed up of Scully to tell anyone to try to stall you two. See, like, and last time I was also confused about the conversation, like, about the whole thing about Jack, like, you know, if she got hurt, then Jack would, you know, all that. I totally missed all that.
Straw.
And I could not comprehend what the beep they were saying. Like, I was like, my eyes are open and I was looking, but it was just like, huh?
You're crazy, Straw. I'll eat her.
In her defense, it's pretty messed up of Scully to tell anyone to try to stall you two. I'd never do anything like that. I feel kind of bad for her, honestly.
Graves is indeed foolish for even trying to slow me down with such pitiful ghosts.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Huh? Leona, are you actually agreeing about Malleus's power?
Did you hit your head on something, King Scholar?
No, my head's in perfectly fine shape. Something's been bugging me for a while, though. Who is Scully? Well, his name is Scully J. Graves, and he's from some small remote town nobody's ever heard of.
Okay, and why would a 16-year-old mage venture out from a small town to Sage's Island entirely on his own? My guess would be to visit relatives, or maybe to go to school. Those are the most obvious answers, yeah. Though at first I figured he must be a student at Royal Sword Academy. But I haven't been able to shake this nagging feeling that something's off. Really? He talks and acts so much like a gentleman, I figured it had to be Royal Sword Academy or nothing. Not that part. I'm talking about his weirdly skewed knowledge.
The lower number is for high wattage microwaves, and the higher time is for low wattage microwaves. Oh, that makes sense.
Well, there's only 20 seconds left, so I'll just let it do its thing.
Why wouldn't he know who Malleus is? So, when even regular people know he's an infamous mage. Even if he grew up in the sticks, there's no excuse for an Arcane Academy student on Sage's Island to not know who Malleus is. You'd have to be literally living under a rock to be that ignorant.
There was one person who didn't know who I was.
Yeah, well, use an exception. Coming from a different world is a legitimate excuse. It'd be one thing if Scully was actually stupid, but he's not. He's a smart guy, and he's capable of using magic. Wow, I'm surprised. At what? Hearing you acknowledge that Malleus is famous. My acknowledgement's got nothing to do with it. The lizard's practically a household name. That's just plain and simple fact. And I didn't say he was famous, I said infamous. There are tons of people who tremble in fear at his many misdeeds. You know all about that, right, Trey?
What?
So, back to what you were saying, Leona. You think Scully lied when he said he went to an Arcane Academy? There's a chance, yeah. But I don't know why he'd lie about that to people he just met. Yeah. The more I think about it, the more puzzling Scully is.
Does the truth matter, though? Regardless of his identity, he chose to turn against us, so we have but to subdue him. If we tie him up and interrogate him, surely he'll share all that he's hiding.
All the muscle-brained logic. Whatever. Trying to reason with you isn't gonna get us anywhere at all. Whoa, hey, Leona! And he's gone off alone.
What a self-centered person. The moment someone voices disagreement with him, he storms off.
Let's be fair. You heard what he said, right? All of his concerns stem from the fact that he recognizes how powerful you are.
Are you taking King Scholar's side, Clover?
What? Not at all. I think your stance is completely reasonable. It's generally better to solve trouble like this as quickly and expediently as possible. I'm sure you and Grimm are miserable right about now. This is the sort of thing magic is there for.
Precisely. Graves' identity is far less pressing than rescuing Skellington and the others. I'm glad you appreciate my reasoning, Clover.
Okay, I didn't understand what he meant by this. I was like, have I done it?
Yeah.
Am I figuring out why he's all sus? My meal is ready.
Yay.
Now the last step.
Enjoy.
Ah, nice.
Whoa, it is mega hot Lizoid.
Ah, that makes sense.
I'll let it sit for a minute.
Da 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 ba da do 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 do. I can't get it. I can't hit it.
That's okay. I haven't gotten any Kirby Buck bonuses. My Twitch is totally glitched out.
Aw, that's not
I've had it
good.
open for an hour. What the
No
fuck?
bonuses? Why would it do that?
Oh, I just had to refresh it.
Oh. And then you got your Kirby bucks.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm glad you appreciated my reasoning, Clover.
I wouldn't go blowing it out of proportion. I just get where you're coming from. Anyway, we'd better follow Leona. You and the others need all the help they can get. Okay. Kind of get why, like, they got mad at Trey at the end because I didn't understand that conversation he had with him.
Yeah.
Like, if you watch the VOD, you'll probably see like a delay in me moving forward, or the opposite of me moving forward too fast because my thumb accidentally touched the screen.
Yeah.
What? Now you're following me?
I was simply deferring to Clover.
I'd rather you didn't tag along at all if all you're gonna do is take verbal pot shots. What is a pot shot?
I don't know.
Hot shot is like a sniper might do. It's kind of out of nowhere. They don't know it's coming. So,
Right.
somebody's walking along and you kind of shoot them after they've gone past you.
Both of you, can we please not? You know we have more important concerns right now. We need to find Jack and ensure Halloween's a success if we want to make it back home. We haven't even found Shock yet. Let's focus on problem solving, okay? Okay, here we are, the plaza. I don't see any Halloween Town locals around, though. They're probably out looking for Skellington. Yeah! Oh, wait, is that the mayor?
I don't remember.
Huh? I know that voice. Oh.
You!
Please, Jack, answer. If you can hear me.
Read the previous line in her voice. The one with question marks.
Jack, where are you?
Oh, hey. It's sound. Did you know in Japanese, Riddle calls her, like, Miss Sally, like the actual word Miss, like, Miss Sally.
Oh. That's pretty cool.
I don't know why, but...
It's polite.
Leona, Trey, Malagus.
I take it you're searching for Skellington as well, Sally.
Yes, I am. Once I heard he'd been kidnapped, I could hardly just sit around. So I've been checking every building in the area, one at a time.
Very well. I shall assist you.
You're gonna search the whole center of town without even narrowing things down? That's ridiculous.
It's not that large. Magical scan to detect presences should hardly take any time at all.
If we use magic that large scale, Scully could detect our presence and run off.
That's hardly a concern. If he spots us, I'll simply capture him before he can flee.
That guy and his attitude. That cookie guy, you can take back over. I'm eating now.
Oh.
Now, I think this is his way of trying to play nice. He took it to heart when you said we should respect the residents of Halloween Town. Let's give them a second. Are you taking his side? What? Not at all. I think your stance is completely reasonable. It's true that in emergencies, it's important to formulate a proper plan. You should use your head instead of expecting magic to solve everything. So you do get it, Trey. Malleus's whole approach is just rude. Wouldn't you agree? Absolutely. I know you're taking pains to minimize damage from this mess, and I support you in that. But Malleus hasn't been outside of Briar Valley for long. I think you should be the bigger man.
Welcome in, Aru. Hello.
Aru! I'm eating Salisbury steak.
With potatoes?
Yeah. I'm eating the potatoes first, though, to get them out of the way.
How are they?
Potato-like.
That sounds good.
Which is delicious.
No, I don't like potatoes. They're all, like, squishy.
They're so good. Potato-like is real. And then Aru redeemed shout out time and said, shout out to women. Just all women. Shout out.
And that's very in theme because Leona here is very respectful towards women.
Oh.
Because because it's like the lion kind of thing. Like the females are the strong ones, and they like go out and do the hunting and stuff.
Oh. I see.
So that's why he was being all polite towards Sally, and why she was like, "Oh, he's such a gentleman." But, and they're like, "Really? Are we talking about the same Leona?"
Yeah.
So Aru is being thematic.
Nice.
Did you do the shout out?
Yes. The lion concerns himself greatly with respecting women. Exactly.
Huh?
Oh yes, quite clearly, King Scholar.
Malleus? What happened to helping Sally search for Jack?
We finished.
That was quick.
I was wondering why King Scholar was shooting me pointed looks, and lo and behold, I never took you for a fraud, Clover. Who would have expected that you'd try to curry favor with both of us? Why, I almost believed every word you said.
That's the kind of guy he is. He'll probably does this all the time, even in Heart's Labial.
Yes.
Where else? Where else?
Nowhere.
Nowhere.
There's nowhere called Heart's Labial.
Heart's Labial. You see that, Malleus? The world's got no shortage of people who lie through their teeth. They're the worst kind of people. You gotta watch out for them.
Indeed. So I have learned.
I wasn't lying through my teeth. I thought it'd be nice if you two could get along a little better.
Well, well. Your consideration is appreciated. That said.
Oops. I wasn't falling asleep. I was taking a bite of my potato.
Astra.
You know what the biggest unifier of all is?
A common
A
enemy.
common enemy. You don't mean me, right? Ah,
One of you guys can take over, Shock. I have potato.
You of all people. You people. What are you doing here? Jock? Oh, thank goodness it's you. You're happy to see me? Yes. I need to have a word with you. Can we chat over here real quick? I don't have anything to say to you. Whatever it is you want, leave me out of it.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
学園長の特別授業です。オッケー。そうきましたか。
Okay.
くなるのは得意じゃないんだ。
That cookie guy, you can take over my roles. I'll be right back.
Shock! Wait! You'd be helping me out. I don't want to help you out.
They ran off. What now?
I'll go after Clover. I believe he and I have much to discuss. I trust you'll be able to handle yourself alone. Of course. Who do you think you're talking to? Just tell Trey that once we get back, I want to have a word with him, too. Oh, I shall. Most impressive zero. Graveyard gate. No sign of Scully here either. Where has that scoundrel taken Jack Skeleton? Little time left until Halloween. I need to find him. And quickly. That bark. Dog. Why are you so agitated? Wait. Have you located Scully and the others? You need to pause between statements or I won't be able to make out what you're saying. More slowly. Aru, he's in there. Oh, I see. My plan has borne fruit. Jack Skeleton's scent lingers all over town, so it would be difficult to sniff him out. But we've only been here a few days, hardly enough time to cover every possible area. Oh, I thought Grimm's scent would be easier to trace than Jack's. Please, this isn't not my doing. You deserve the credit for memorizing Grimm's scent. Your olfactory senses are most impressive, Zero. I shall rescue your owner soon enough. Now, quickly. Show me the way to Grimm. The gate.
Now we're ready for the new stuff. How excited are you for this?
I'm beyond excited.
As excited as a kid on Halloween?
I think I'm as excited as Beryl.
That was a yummy meal.
Except for the potatoes.
Yeah, the Salisbury steak itself is so delicious. So I say that for last and is very satisfying. Where do you suppose Bobathan is?
I'm thinking he's following your example and getting dinner. Perhaps a sandwich variety.
I think.
That's crazy. You calling him that? You're crazy. What's the best kind of chocolate? I like Cadbury. I'm having Hershey right now.
Any kind of chocolate with almonds in it.
That's my least favorite. It gets in the way of the yummy chocolate.
You know, to me, the almonds add to it.
It's copywritten. From what? And white chocolate is pretty good. I guess if, like, not talking about brand names, I like milk chocolate the best. And dark chocolate is okay. I'll eat it if I have it. Well, I guess it's time to do some twist tunes. What's your favorite twist tune?
How do you choose one? They're all great.
I'll do this one.
Good choice.
Who up twisting they Wonderland? I'll pin that. Woohoo! Wait. They seem people. I mean, I don't like the purple type of twist tunes either, but they're like I can never finish these, or that they're too long. But they're okay. I did it.
What'd you do?
The twist tune.
Ah.
When will Sir Christmas Bob be back?
I'm feeling like any second.
I guess we're going main story.
Sunset Savannah.
これは全てマレウスの仕業ってことか。
Wasteland.
許せねえな。あいつは得体が知れなくて、いつかとんでもねえことをしでかす。俺はずっとそう思ってたぜ。これはきっちりお礼をしねえとな。
それじゃあレオナ・キングスカラーさん、僕たちの仲間になってくれるんだね。
は？どうして俺が散々悪夢を見せられたせいで、俺はもうクタクタだ。一歩も動きたくねえ。俺はここで寝て待ってるから、マレウスをボコす準備が整ったら呼べ。じゃあな。
そ
結論レオナキングス辛すぎる。却下却下。せっかく苦労して目覚めさせたんだからキリキリ働いてもらえませんと。
どうして俺が寮長クラスの魔法師が必要だってんならそこのタコ野郎でもう十分だろう。
僕はどこかの誰かさんのせいで電線で無理。
Hey, welcome back.
体中ボロボロ
Thank
で
you.
し
I
て
ate.
Book 7 time.
Yes.
ここで一時離脱をお願いしようと思っていたんです。
本当だ。アズールさんの構成レースにかなりダメージの蓄積が見られるね。
王宮の前で近衛兵と戦った時かなりの数をアズールが相手してくれたんだ。
魔法だけでなく拳や杖での打撃も見事だった。
それ完全に柄の悪いやつのただの喧嘩じゃないですか。
さらにユニーク魔法をたくさん使ったラギーさん、ジャックさんにもかなりの疲労が蓄積してる。自分の夢に戻って休んだ方が良さそうだ。
ほらレオナさん、俺らみんなレオナさんを起こすためにボロボロになったんすよ。
そうですよ。しっかり誠意を見せていただきませんと。
本当にうるせえ野郎どもだ。わかったわかった。少しの間なら面倒見てやるよ。
すごい純粋な興味としてどうやって育てたらこんな偉そうになるのか知りたくなってきた。
それじゃこれを渡しておくね。マレオスさんとの結成
What？
フィールドへのリンクカード。
これは華やかなパーティーへお招きいただき感激のみたい。大切な日をすっかり忘れてしまわないよう留意いたします。
それから旅立つ前にレオナさんのダミーデータを。
こいつは俺が戻る。王としてこの枯れ果てた土地を一人で統治しなきゃいけねえのか。哀れだな。
どうかな。意外とやる気出して都市開発を進めてしまうのでは。
だよね。戻ってきたらすごい高層ビルとか建ってたりして。
ここにいると気がめいる。さっさと次の夢へ行こう。
皆さん、僕が同行できるのはここまでですが、世界を支配せんとする魔王を制したとは。
I coughed.
その成果の値打ちは莫大。この大仕事、必ずやり遂げてみせましょうね。
Why can't you come, Azul?
His ethereal structure is down.
もしかして俺自分の夢に戻ったらまたドーナツ食い放題なんじゃないっすか。
See what Ortho said?
What is that?
I don't know. He's weak.
Mm-hmm. なあ、俺らのことは気にせずのんびりゆっくり冒険を続けてください。
俺は自分の実力不足を実感することばっかりだったぜ。合流するまでにきっちり仕上げていくから期待してろよ。
よーし、それじゃするんですか。
あ、みんな俺の周りに集まってくれ。
みたいなドリーム。
では行くぞ。いつか会った人に、いずれ会う人に。ミートインアドリーム。
So tell me everything that's going on in book 7.
There's another Leona that's gonna rule.
Why?
Because the other one has to go with them to defeat Malleus, who is trapping them all in their dreams.
Yeah.
And Ruggy laughed.
So Dat Cookie Guy, what's this chapter called? Mr. Cookie.
I'm looking.
He's looking.
One lazy day.
What?
Good job. He nailed it.
One lousy bathtub.
One lazy day. All right, that cookie guy. I believe in you.
Yeah, I had him say it then because I couldn't take it off of auto until.
Oh, smart. All right, that cookie.
Graveyard.
What do you think they're gonna do at the graveyard, that cookie?
Find Scully.
Ah, there it is! That wondrous hill is my absolute favorite place in Halloween Town.
What the?
Why does he got Grim in a toddler carrier?
This is utterly humiliating. What'd you say, Pass?
He's very content about having him in the toddler carrier.
Yeah. Oh dear, my apologies. How thoughtless of me. Surely we'll be fine all the way out here. I'll remove your gag.
Jack's bones are digging into my arms from one end, and my henchwoman's feet are hitting me from the other. This is one lousy bathtub. If you didn't have me tied up so tight, I'd already be out of here.
Oh, I forgot about the walking bathtub.
I think I'm getting motion sickness.
And it's like na 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 na. And they're singing that song.
Oh, yeah. Please find it in your hearts to understand. This was the only way I had to transport all you lovely individuals.
You and your smug attitude. If I wasn't stuck in this cramped tub, I'd burn you to cinders.
My, how frightening.
How long are you gonna keep us like this? And what are you gonna do with us?
Fret not, my fine, furry friend. I simply need you to spend a while keeping quiet in this beautiful place. That's all. Just sit tight until Halloween is over. You can do that, can't you?
Oh! That howl! That Jack howl!
It's Zero to the rescue.
Dear me, what truly exceptional people. It seems they've already found me. But no matter, you're still not going free. Halloween is mine! Oh, the spiral hill. You still gotta say it.
Spiral hill.
And what's the katakana under that say?
That's a good question.
Ari, can you read that katakana? It's all weird and stylized.
And tiny.
And tiny.
I can read
Ari,
it.
we need your help.
Oh, that actually helps. No, do it again. So that Aru can read it. Tsumo no ka gayawaoka. Is that right? Doesn't sound right.
Yeah. Like, where does the word spiral come to an end?
This is hard.
I think Aru is truly stumped.
Yeah, he's just sitting there like... He's trying. He's using his exam booklet, and he's just like looking. I don't blame you, Aru. Spiral Hill kept us a nice screenshot. Who up twistin' they Wonderland? If only he was. I was wondering who it might be. It's strange, though. Somewhere deep down, I had a feeling you'd be the first to reach me. Hey! Stop! Good evening, Sebek. Such a fine encounter is deserving of a courtesy kiss.
I finally found you, Scully.
Yeah, don't meet Scotty.
What is going through your head? Why should you do this to Jack Skellington, much less the others?
Shh! Lower your voice. A clamor ill befits such an evening. Isn't the full moon simply stunning? Yet, the more I gaze upon it, the more I feel a sense of melancholy. I cannot help but wonder why that might be. What is it that makes me feel this way? Does this moon make you feel sorrowful as well, Sebek?
I can see the overlay of Discord.
What?
Oh, on the there was a delay. It fixed after I finished saying that.
Oh, okay.
Wait, I forgot what Sebek said. Oh, he didn't say anything. Oh, okay.
I suppose it's my fault for expecting you to talk sensibly for once. There can only be one reason for your inability to savor the brightness of this magnificent moon. The darkness in your own heart.
I see. It's strange. That makes me feel disappointment and acceptance all at once.
Where are Jack Skellington, you, and Grim? They better be safe. They better all be safe.
Hmm.
Of course they are. I would never dream of treating them poorly. They're all resting peacefully right now.
I'd say it's pretty poor treatment taking them captive after they refuse to agree with you. You know, since you understand what it means to revere somebody, I thought we had at least a little in common.
Throw in redeemed posture time. Are y'all sitting up straight?
Yes. Thanks,
I'm-
Roland.
Now I am.
I'm laying in a lounged position, so it is impossible for me to sit up straight unless I stop lounging.
Just make sure your back isn't arched.
It's kind of arched because of the dip in the couch, you know?
Yes.
So then I'd have to do and then have my back not be on the couch. You know?
Oh, no, yeah.
You can imagine that.
Here you are, engaging in a barbaric act. I'm disappointed in you, Scully. Jake Graves.
I shall accept all of your criticism. After all, who could possibly understand the emptiness I feel? Mr. Skellington was nothing like I'd envisioned. He rejected my Halloween and exclusively favored other people's ideas for the holiday over mine. Could he be no different from the rest of the raucous, uncouth, foolish rabble? Him, the Pumpkin King? That would just be tragic. I won't stand for any further desecration of my ideals of Halloween. Not even from Jack Skellington!
What a fool you are! Daryl, get out of here and find someplace safe. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me.
He unequipped the dog.
If I am to make him see through these clouded eyes of his, I must rescue Jack.
I prefer to not directly engage you in combat, but I suppose this is how it must be. All that I do for my beloved Halloween. I shall put myself on the line and fight. You shall never have my Halloween!
Digga, digga, digga.
これぞハロウィン
ルチウス少し下
がってい
なさい
少しsomething in a sec. 1, 2, 3, 4. いいんじゃないよしじゃあ回りやっちゃう行くぞ Oh, he's using his pumpkin. He has pumpkin attacks.
Hopefully I'll get him next year. I'll save up to get him when he comes to the English version.
Yes! I would love to, Fastra.
正解だ。
Yeah. Pumpkin attacks. No! You defeated the pumpkin man.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Perfect. Some reason I thought it said Cuphead instead of Graveyard.
It does.
Oh, they're at the Spiral Hill.
Make it count. Spiral Hill.
Oh, shoot.
Rash. How careless of me. Deflected again.
It would appear our magical prowess is nearly equal. Quite a dramatic confrontation, wouldn't you say? Perhaps this was meant to be.
Absurd. Did you come to Halloween Town just to set yourself up for disappointment?
Yeah! Your words are so biting, Sebek. Disappointment? You know, you're right. There's an emptiness in my heart where my longing once resided. That must be why I am in such anguish.
He needs to finish this fight with his signature spell. Can't allow him to cast that on me. If I'm turned into a jack-o'-lantern, I'll be immobilized and as good as defeated. No ordinary tactic could let me evade a spell that fires at that speed. I have a potential countermeasure, though. I can use my signature spell to turn myself into lightning and paralyze Scully.
What?
Book 7 spoilers?
Sebek!
Why?
Oh, Sebek. Come on, man.
But it's not. It's just okay. It's epic to learn about it because it's in the General Lilia arc of Book 7. So it's like really cool.
Oh, I see.
And then you just get it in just a side to himself.
Yo.
Okay.
The best way to find out.
In terms of raw force and speed, that's my only option.
And I remember how well it worked versus General Lilia.
But after I use that spell, the backlash leaves me staggered and struggling to move. If I miss, be a sitting duck. Ali said he can't use this spell in quick succession. That means
longing to the point of anguish, unending torment, emptiness. Surely, Sebek. Surely you understand, right?
I only have one shot at this. Now's the moment to make it count.
Let the lantern be lit.
Lightning pierce the stormy skies.
scary night!
Living bolt.
Oh.
Man. It seems battle been decided.
What was that flashing shockwave just now? Lightning? What incredible speed! I haven't seen that since Zenitsu! So that's your signature spell, Sebek! No more glasses!
He looks weird without them.
Yeah.
You can't use your signature spell anymore.
Ugh.
Which means I win. Release Jack Skellington.
But I don't wanna.
Still, you resist? Don't be obstinate. Battle is over. Accept defeat.
I don't wanna! I have to protect Halloween. I have to protect what I love most. Scary night!
What? How? I thought you could use your signature spell. Are you lying to us? No, you weren't. You just mastered your signature spell at this very moment.
My care for Halloween, my love, it triumphed over your magic.
Why was that so muffled?
I don't know.
Do it again.
Do it again.
I was outmatched in signature spell mastery. Oh, how woefully undertrained I am! I should have trained harder. If only I hadn't lowered my guard there. No, those are all simply excuses. I failed you, my liege!
Oh, Sebek, how charming it is! The way that even now Malleus is foremost in your thoughts. I have naught but the utmost respect for your deep loyalty. Indeed, I envy you, Sebek. If only Jack Skellington was as steadfast as Malleus, then I never would have resorted to this. I would have kept believing in him as you believe in your liege, if only he hadn't betrayed me. I am fully convinced you have never experienced the despair and sorrow I presently feel. After all, unlike you, the ideals I cherished were all a mistake.
Are you suggesting this is all Jack's fault? What an egregious shifting of blame! Don't look at yourself now. You're out here, sulking alone, ruining the Halloween others were preparing, abducting defenseless people. That's all you. It has nothing to do with Malleus or Jack Skellington. Only your own selfishness.
Shut up. Just shut up. Stop talking. A pumpkin is in no position to lecture me.
Oh. I'm only a pumpkin because you made me one.
Enough shouting. Haven't I told you countless times that I don't like raucous noise making? Perhaps more extreme measures are required to get my point across.
Is there anything I can do?
Now that's a relatable complaint right there. This croco punk really is unbearably obnoxious.
I bet you that's Leona.
Oh, we don't know yet.
Because he always calls Azul the cephalopunk.
Yeah.
Way too much credit.
I got to... Oh, Leona. Yep. I will never be a team Leona.
Yeah, that sounds weird.
Just can't accept it.
What's this chapter called?
Way too much credit. Spiral Hill.
You.
You're saying what I'm always thinking. Guess we're on the same wavelength, huh, Scully?
Leona!
Leona! I resent being called obnoxious when the only thing I do is state facts.
Hard facts.
The only thing, huh? Don't make me laugh. You charged in alone and got yourself turned into a jack-o'-lantern. Classic. Go punk. See it? The only thing you ever do is rush headlong into trouble. I hadn't heard your loudmouth shouting. Scully would have beaten you into a pumpkin puree.
The quality is a little weird. Can you, like, be a little more clear at all?
I can try.
That sounded pretty good.
If I hadn't heard your loudmouthed shouting, Scully would have beaten you into a pumpkin puree. You know, on second thought, it might have been a useful learning experience for you. Should I come back later? It vexes me that I can't even argue.
Loudmouth shouting. Aha! That explains why Sebek's been talking so loudly this whole time. He was alerting you and all of your companions to his whereabouts.
Nah, you're giving him way too much credit. He's just that loud. You're wrong. That was all part of my plan. Anyway, looks like you've been having a grand old time with our herbivore. So let me in on the fun.
Oh dear.
Korezo Halloween.
Yeah, I heard that too. Why do you say it's good laundry?
No.
I must have misheard him. Choose train twice.
Okay.
No, then he'll get burned.
Aww. Yay! Come on, train. Yeah, I knew he could do it. Tap, 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 tap.
Spiral Hill.
This time, for sure!
Shing's roar.
My spell turned to sand yet again. It's no use. None of my spells can touch him.
Ah, you are. This is rather lopsided. I wasn't expecting such a glaring difference in capabilities. He may be a foolish human who defies the great Malleus, but I must grudgingly respect his skill in magic, if nothing else. I would have imagined someone so utterly irksome would make such a fine ally.
Hey, Crockle Punk. Want me to punt that pumpkin body of yours into next Tuesday?
Can't maintain the spell any longer.
Ah. Oh, excellent. I'm back to normal. Oh, hey, so you are. Yep. Right back to the same idiotic face as usual.
Are you addressing a garden pumpkin? I'm right here.
Oh.
Hey, Scully, don't go lying down for nappy time. It's too early for you to rest. Get up. I've been through a ton of irritating things because of you. Come on, stick it out. How am I supposed to vent my frustration?
What a crude, spiteful display of intimidation. Excellent. That's the Leona I know.
I stand no chance now, no matter what I do. If only there was some chance to make a dramatic comeback.
Which one's lock? Is that the far left one?
Yeah, because the middle one's shock.
What's the right
Barrel
one?
on the right.
Oh, okay.
Barrel.
I like how you're like very like quick to answer that.
Hey. Golly.
Weird hell.
Okay, little freak. Are they gonna be able to beat Leona?
Nope.
Ooh, it's spoiling.
Dependable helper.
Now we know they're gonna be dependable.
Dependable helpers. The Spiral Hill.
That's
Look! Shuck! Barrel! Oh, what dependable helpers you are! Halloween hasn't turned its back on me yet!
It's the Halloween prankster trio. None of them are terribly strong, but they're all extremely nimble.
I didn't know they were.
It was tough to handle Barrel by himself. All three of them plus Scully would be trouble. What do we do now, Leona?
It seems the battle has just begun. Now, you lovely individuals, have a demonstration of what we true Halloween appreciators are capable of.
It's true.
We're all.
Love Halloween. Trick or treat.
Trick or treat.
Yeah.
Whoa! May I ask what you're doing? Don't throw things at... Ouch! Ow! Why are you attacking me? They are your enemies, not me! Leona and Sebek! Capture them!
Yeah, no. You're not the boss of us.
Gah!
Those miscreants are tying rope around Scully. Why are they helping us all of a sudden?
We did it. We got him.
We captured
Scully. Jamil.
Yes, well done. Jamil! What are you doing here? No, never mind. Luck, why did you on the other side with Jamil? Didn't you promise we'd work together to craft the best possible Halloween?
Oh, that's easy. We like Jamil better than you.
Yeah, the only one who can give us orders. I don't remember making you any promises.
No. Luck, Shock, and Barrel. You've all betrayed me. You prefer Jamil to me. That's just...
Orders? Wait, are they? Man, Jamil, way to twist a knife. Billy's so devastated he's on the verge of tears. Throw the poor guy a bone and explain the trick.
You're so merciful, Leona. Personally, I think Scully deserves this much and more, but fine. What trick are you talking about? You can't reason with those three right now. You see, their minds are under my control.
So it really is what I thought.
Yes. It's my signature spell at work. Snake Charmer lets me control people who make eye contact with me. Hypnosis magic? You can use such sophisticated magic? I knew they were helping you, and I knew you were on this hill. So I captured Lock, Shock, and Barrel. Then I turned them into pawns to make you lower your guard. I'd say they did the job pretty well. Wouldn't you agree? Nice one, Jamil. You got the 3 brats.
Yes.
Time to pull one over. On Spiral Hill.
That's so low! Low? I think you mean smart. And you wouldn't believe how much of a headache it was, rounding all 3 of them up. Ha!
Ah! Their backs are against the wall.
Now, Riddle! Off with your head!
Oh, they couldn't illustrate the collar on them. But
Yeah.
they don't have magic, right?
We'll see. Let's see what happens.
Collar, it's so clunky.
And heavy. Like my head's been turned to stone.
Now you both match me.
You certainly gave us the runaround with all that leaping and hopping about. That's some incredible agility. If the others hadn't dispersed the ghosts, that would have taken even longer. Not that even an army of ghosts would last a second against me, of course. I trust this is what you wanted, Jamil? Yes, it is. Thank you, Riddle. Now then.
What are you gonna do with that? Stay away!
Come on, you two, we gotta get out of here.
Easy there.
Yeah.
Now that you've got heavy collars, you won't be able to flee like you could before. See, that's why. Not because they have magic. I've got a job for you 3.
Oh no, he's gonna read another poem at me. Somebody, anybody, help!
It's not a poem.
It's an ode.
All of you, Look into my eyes.
Hmm?
The one you behold is your master. When I ask you a question, you will answer. When I give you a command, you will assent. Snake Charmer.
In Japanese, it's like maybe head, like he says the word whisper in there.
Oh,
I forgot.
interesting.
It's like I want to. I don't. It's not like snake whisper. I just never said the word. Okay.
Whisper. Lock, shock, barrel. Who do you obey?
We obey
You.
Jamil.
That's right. Good answer.
That spell never ceases to amaze me.
Yes, I'm sure Scully won't be expecting anything of the sort.
I can't wait to see the look of bewilderment on his face. Alright. Lock, shock, barrel. It's time to pull one over on Scully.
And that's why they tied me up.
So, how does it feel being betrayed and bound by people you thought were your allies? You gave us no end of trouble, but you are finished now, Scully. Easy there. You're free to yell, but don't expect help from any corner at this point. After all, you don't have a single person on your side here! That villainous smile practically oozes viciousness. Oops, sorry, I was so into it.
Mr. Cookie Guy.
That villainous smile practically oozes viciousness. That's the Jamil I know. Dependable to the last.
Not a single person. No allies. No companions. No one. No one at all.
See that, Scully? There's nowhere left to run.
See that? Don't be absurd!
What?
Do you know how much it threw me off when I brought the pranksters here and saw a pumpkin speaking with your voice? You're way too prone to desperate gambits. You need to come up with proper plans instead.
You were watching. You could have stepped in to help me.
I saw Leona already en route and figured it'd be fine to leave that part to him.
Yeah, you guys all give me extra work. Especially you, freshman. What? Don't elbow me, human. My early intervention is the reason that we captured Scully before Halloween. Which means I deserve credit for this.
That's rich, coming from a guy who didn't do anything but get rescued.
Throw in.
Extra work? Route! Where am I? Back at my job?
Yeah.
Sorry, Throlin, for the poor choice of words.
Because Thorlin is really fast at doing deliveries, so they always give him extra work and like rescue. Yeah, see?
Rescues? Oh, God. He didn't do anything but get rescued. Just like Throlin does?
Uh-huh.
I see.
He always gets tasked with extra work and all that.
Oh, Throlin. You get a gold star in my book. You're a good noodle.
Yeah, I would go faster, but I just...
You're not Throlin.
Yeah.
No kidding. Gonna take a solid scolding to get through his thick skull. Then again, I suppose I could always tell Malleus about the pitiful way he was rolling around when he was a pumpkin.
Now that's an excellent idea.
Don't you dare! If you do, there will be consequences!
It just ends with Scully just.
Aw. It's that wide-eyed look.
Yeah.
No fair at all.
That's how I look when I had a long day and then I get a text, "Hey, can you do a rescue?"
No.
Whee.
No fair at all. Spiral Hill.
No fair.
Exactly, Thrillin.
After 180 plus stops, hey, do you think you could do a small rescue?
I hate that.
No fair. No fair. No fair, no fair, no fair. Huh? Now he's throwing a temper tantrum like a literal toddler.
Wow, Jamil, I think you took the bullying a bit too far.
Me? It's not like you weren't giving the guy a hard time either.
I warned you that you were going overboard. Let this be a lesson to you both.
No fair. Sebek! It's just not fair at all!
Huh? Me?
Sebek, what did you do to him?
That old cookie, wake up.
Apologize now. I didn't do anything half as bad as what you two did, I think.
You've got someone like Malleus to admire. And a friend like Zero who's ready and willing to help you out. And companions like Leona and Jamil. But I've got no one. Why?
Aww.
Why am I the only person all alone? Wherever I go, even here, always, 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 always.
Ellie, what's gotten into you? Calm down.
Shut up!
Wow.
Wow.
He just broke free of his restraints with magic.
He had that much power still in reserve?
I have nothing. I've lost Halloween, the thing I love most, as well as Jack Skellington, the one I revered above all others. Now I'm left with utterly nothing! Really quiet. He's such a quiet little creature.
Whoa! Look out! Run for it!
Now he's flinging magic around at random. He's gone completely berserk.
You people! How I envy you!
Guys, stay sharp.
Halloween!
Halloween!
No fair! No fair! No fair! Scully won't calm down.
No kidding, he's too angry.
How low you've allowed yourself to fall, Scully.
That old guy, you weren't on top of your lines. It was a time-sensitive thing.
Sorry. Look at Beryl.
策を取ろう。
いいんじゃない？
お前は俺の手の内だ。
なんと哀れなお姿。切なき憧れと。本当にユリカ。
Did he just say Eureka? Why am I so miserable? Why are you all so happy? Why? 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 Oh, that hurts! Cease throwing things at us! What a destructive tantrum! Worse than Lock, Shock, and Barrel! So this is what Scully is like under his veneer.
Sheesh. Talk about a wolf in sheep's clothing.
正解だ。
手本を見せよう。
なんと行くぞ。
心が痛い。
こんなもの。
Monstra, finish this Joker.
Hey!
Ooh, there we go. Crowley did a number on him. Choose Crowley again. That man carried. Oh, never mind. Jamil got it. Tap Quasimodo football. Now there's no one with whom to share my lament. I'm entirely alone. I've had it with this guy and his ranting.
Get a little rough. On Spiral Hill. That badger punk. His spells are no real threat on their own, but he could overblock if we aren't careful. What?
What?
Scully, your tantrum has gone on long enough. Seize this.
I don't wanna! You can't tell me what to do!
Why are you talking like that? You've lost every shred of dignity you previously exuded.
Shut up! There's no point in trying to emulate Jack Skellington now. None of it matters anymore. All of you, go away! Leave me alone!
Hey, Jamil, we need to knock him out and keep him from doing anything else stupid. And you can get a little rough if you have to. Sure beats him over blotting in this place.
Understood. I won't pull my punches. I envy you, Sebek. I wish I could have kept believing in my ideal like you do.
Ellie.
But I can't now. The Halloween I'd always imagined. The Jack Skellington I'd always imagined. We're completely and utterly wrong.
You stubborn fool.
Oh.
Sebek, wait.
Ah!
Living bolt.
Wow. Where'd that come from, Mr.
They just blast him.
Yep.
personal shortcomings.
Amethyst! Thank you for the resub for 49 months, currently on a 41-month streak. Thank you, Stick Amethyst. I appreciate that. Hey.
Where are they at?
Spiral Hell. Living Bolt.
Ugh, too bright. Was that Sebek's signature spell?
How do you like that? Did you cool your head a little?
Scully's collapsed. Did Sebek's signature spell do that?
Again, with the reckless charging in, don't you know how to wait? Silence, human. It had to be me. Hey, Ellie.
Nothing matters anymore. I can no longer believe in Jack Skellington, the person I once idolized. The man I'd imagined was nothing but an illusion. Reality is all too harsh.
You're wrong. Believing in someone doesn't mean pushing your idea of what they should be on them. It means committing yourself to accept them as they are, unconditionally.
Committing myself? You would have me keep my mouth shut and just believe? Simply obey like a fool even when things don't match my ideals? 49 months. I know, right, Throwin? It's insane. It's insane.
4 years.
Don't put words in my mouth, you imbecile.
Imbecile?
Even on the off chance, the infinitesimally minute chance that my liege differed from my ideal of him. Even if he did something I couldn't agree with, or our paths diverged at some point, I would still accept that, regardless. I would understand that it is also a part of what makes him Malleus. I wouldn't immediately disavow him and act all righteously disillusioned the way you have. Differences of opinion are entirely separate from one's capacity for enduring admiration. I told you before that the question of whether you can adhere to your beliefs rests entirely in your hands.
He's not making any sense.
He's saying that he gave up on him too easily. That he gave up on Jack. Because even if Malleus did something he didn't agree with, he would still have had that opinion of him. But Scully didn't. So he's saying that he abandoned his ideals. The question of whether you can...
Your own personal shortcomings are what truly torment you.
This is my fault? I simply loved Halloween. That's all. So I wanted to make everyone else appreciate it as well. I wanted us to all enjoy it together. But not a single soul played along. I love Halloween more than anything, and yet, Was I wrong? Was I approaching this all wrong? Oh, Mr. Skellington. He hates me now, doesn't he?
What I know. You want answers? Ask him yourself.
Huh?
Ideal Halloween.
Or in the terms of Osaka Shizuku, Anata no riso Halloween.
What?
That's her song, but instead of heroine, Halloween. That mods pull up Shizuku Osaka's first debut song.
I remember that one. Ooh.
Ideal Halloween.
Where at?
Spiral Hill.
Jack.
It's Jack.
It is so
heard
Jack
the
right now.
whole thing. Mr. Skellington?
That freaked me out. A bolt of lightning went zap, then a flash of light went shoo, and I went Rah!
Made my eyes hurt.
No, I want this one.
Okay.
Say it, Coz.
Overruled.
Say what the choice was.
That was a beautiful sight.
Oh, good. Looks like everyone's safely rescued. Your plan was for us to rescue the captors while you were leading the pranksters here. But it was much more aggravating than I could have expected. Aggravating? How so?
Grim refused to leave the bathtub until he finished eating all the candy Scully gave him.
Look, Scully said, please, have some refreshment and make yourselves at home. It'd be rude not to finish a generous gift, right? I'm stuffed.
Yeah. I choked on my spit.
Nostra.
I'm okay now.
I hope so.
What did they just say?
You don't want to know.
They were lounging around and having the time of their lives when we found them. I can't do a smooth voice.
It was really comfy. You've got nerves of steel, you. We were worried sick, you know.
And you wouldn't believe how hard it was to wake up Jack. How does anyone sleep that soundly? What a nice nap! It cleared my head right up! I feel great! You're a skeleton. Of course the inside of your head is clear.
If you start interjecting every time he sets himself up for it, you'll never stop.
Now then, Scully. These boys told me you kidnapped me in order to make the Halloween you wanted happen? Well, you see... Yes. That's exactly what I did. I wanted to defend my ideal Halloween and keep others from defiling it. And to that end, I abducted you, Mr. Skellington. I see. That's fantastic! What? Huh? That motivation, that passion, that love! Your feelings toward Halloween are the real deal, all right? Wow, I'm awestruck!
A victim of abduction is praising his abductor's spirit. What magnanimity! Jack Skellington is a great man indeed.
He's probably not even thinking about that. Hey, Skellington, are you seriously going to let Scully off the hook?
Of course! Scully's passion for Halloween is incredible. How could I ever deny him that? Mr. Skellington, don't you think my idea of Halloween was... Didn't you think my idea of Halloween was unacceptable? Huh? Did I say that? You did! You said that simply following tradition is just empty, and that spending Halloween alone defeats the whole purpose of the day. Well, yes. Halloween is for everyone. It's not a day to spend alone. Halloween is there to strike fear into everyone's hearts equally. Screams should resound throughout the land, and all should cower in fear. It would be a huge bore otherwise. And Halloween has to keep evolving to achieve that. Repeating the same thing over and over just doesn't work. Evolving? Halloween is for everyone? Yes. I have to say, though, I'm amazed. I really respect you, Scully. Huh? Did I hear that correctly? You really respect me, Mr. Skellington? I certainly do. I never thought anyone cared so much for Halloween outside of Halloween Town. I'm sure your love for the holidays every bit as strong as mine, and I'm the Pumpkin King. You and I are a lot alike, you know, since we're both willing to go to any length for Halloween. Mr. Skellington! I was wrong!
In your face cam, it's only like half your face.
Oops. Halloween evolves! It scares everyone! I failed to understand that! I'm so sorry! Wah! I was iffy about simply letting someone off the hook for abduction. But it seems Jack's words hit him harder than any punishment could have.
Yes, as long as he has his idol, I'm sure he won't stoop to such unbecoming conduct again. Isn't that right, my liege?
Did you say something, Sebek? Oh, it's so sad.
Well, it's so sad.
Oops, it's
Where's
happening
Halloween
again.
Town Plaza.
Oh, Jack! Where are you? Is there anywhere we've forgotten to check?
Mr. Cuds, you got this clown voice in the bag.
I looked in every mausoleum.
He's the one. I am the clown with the tearaway face.
We opened the sarcophagus.
Mr. Hyde?
Who the beep is Mr. Hyde? Besides Dr. Jekyll.
That's who it is.
But, like, what does he look like?
I don't remember a Mr.
There's no
Hyde.
humans.
Good question. I don't know what Mr. Hyde is from this context. I tromped through the pumpkin patch. I peeked behind the Cyclops' eye. I did, but he wasn't there. What if we don't find him? What will become of this year's Halloween?
Yeah.
Ah! 0. Jack, I'm so glad you're safe! Where have you been? Wait, Scully! Jack's abductor is here as well! You scoundrel! It's time to sound the alarms! Relax, Mayor. Everything he did for Halloween. Really? Well, if that's your take on the matter, that's good enough for me. We can enjoy Halloween together, Scully. So easily swayed. I'm certain I have little room to talk, but it's rather concerning. It's true. You do have no room to talk.
Despite Halloween Town's gloomy aesthetics, its residents are quite chipper.
Oh, Jack. I'm so glad you're all right. I was worried sick.
You were worried about me?
Of course I was.
Wow. Thanks, Sally. But you don't need to worry anymore. See this? Not a bone out of place. And Halloween's still on track, right? It's almost time. Come on, everyone. We don't have a moment to spare. Let's get all the final prep work done.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just before Halloween.
Yes. Yes, I think it's lovely.
Who did the musicians?
You.
That's what we'll go with. Leech, Shroud, Felmir, what are you discussing?
Ah, Malleus. We're going over our final checks for the music.
Well, Jay's way more knowledgeable about music than me, so I haven't been offering much in the way of input. But apparently getting feedback from lots of sources will lead to a better final product. I don't know much about music at all either, but I listened to what they played and gave them my impressions of it. Oh, music, That sounds fascinating. I've been curious about that strange stringed instrument as it happens.
Oh yeah? We can play you a tune then.
We'll play one of our favorites, a fitting song for a time of celebration.
And a 1, and a 2.
That was perfect. Whoa. It's so sad.
I'll see if we could play it again.
What is this? The song that plays when the female lead comes down with an incurable illness? It makes me feel so unsettled. It makes me think of a chicken choking on its food.
My, don't you think that's a tad bit insulting toward these esteemed musicians? Allow me to share my own interpretation. The song brings to mind children running through the plaza on a festival
That happens but once a year. Is that what it's meant to depict?
Jade, you're just making stuff up. That's exactly right! What? OMG, do you have ESP? How'd you get children or festivities out of that, or festivals out of that? I heard it the same way that Leech did. These are some truly exceptional musicians, if they can evoke the same imagery in the minds of multiple listeners.
I couldn't agree more.
How intriguing. I'd like to hear more of your music, if you please. Then here's your next challenge. When did this turn into a quiz game? Somehow, I doubt I'd ever get an answer right. How come sometimes my face is half cut off?
I don't know, that happens sometimes.
Stretching time. Thanks, Stick Amethyst.
What's this chapter called?
Here goes nothing.
Where at?
Halloween Town, the Plaza. The culinary side of things had me worried for a while, but this whole selection looks delicious. We managed to turn those ingredients into all this. That's practically magic in and of itself. Ding.
Dang. Trey is the pride of Hartzelbuhl, and he worked on this personally.
I absolutely couldn't have done it without Jamil. Not to mention the people who helped gather all the ingredients.
With you and Jamil cooking, I know I can safely expect good things. This I will happily eat without any concerns. I'm rather looking forward to this party.
Everyone!
Sally.
I can't thank you enough for saving Jack.
So we've heard. I assure you, you said thank you plenty.
But I really am grateful. And I wanted to channel that gratitude into something for you. So, I made a soup.
You made a soup?
A soup?
I did, yes. There's still some time before the party, right? I thought you might be hungry. Come have some while it's hot. Help yourselves.
No, please. I have a very sensitive palate.
That's rather rude.
Oh, is it now? You're welcome to have some instead, Phil.
No. What if I break out in hives?
That seems rather rude to me.
Oh, I know. I think my spoon's a little dented. Another one I could use?
There's an issue with mine as well. Miss Sally, may I pick out a replacement spoon?
Oh dear, I'm sorry. You're welcome to pick out whatever spoon you like from the cutlery box.
Thank you. I'll just take... It's not here. What isn't? That one spoon. It's not here.
Sally? What happened to the spoon with the holes in it?
Oh, I keep that one in my sock. See?
Why do you keep a spoon in your sock? Ugh. It seems we have no choice but to resign ourselves to our fate.
They'll wake up.
If I just picture it as a particularly potent medicine, all right, I'll do it.
If I get food poisoning from this, I'll be making a claim with my traveler's insurance, separate world or not.
Guys? All right. Me too. Here goes nothing. Here goes nothing. Ah.
It's good! How? It tastes like a strawberry tart.
Mine tastes like a selection of fresh fruits, all perfectly ripe.
Trey used his signature spell.
Ah. Mine tastes as savory as a juicy steak. How am I getting this flavor from soup? Wait, I know what's going on here. Ha.
Trey,
You got me. I used my signature spell to change the flavor. It's Halloween, but everyone looked less than festive. So I acted on impulse. Might as well make this a fun party, right? Part of me questioned if it'd be rude towards Sally, but it'd be ruder to eat her food grudgingly, right?
Trey! I'm proud to have such a capable vice house warden, truly.
An impeccable way to avoid potential conflict. You can be frighteningly tactful sometimes.
I owe you an immense debt, Trey. How am I supposed to repay this?
Phew, I'm glad you guys like it. That was delicious. May I have seconds?
I'd like more as well. Likewise, it's good for one's metabolism to warm up with soup before a meal.
Why, I'm flattered. Please, have as much as you like. But don't forget to save room for the party.
I'm glad they're happy. But I only changed the flavor, not the actual ingredients. Oh, look. Oh well, look at the way they're smiling. I'll spoil a moment.
You totally called it, Fastra. I thought instead of plaza it said pizza.
It does.
Someone so rude.
What were they talking about?
Following Town Plaza. Right?
My legs are still asleep after I spent all that time stuck in a cold bathtub. If only I could chip in with the work. But nope, I can't.
I wish I could help, but...
Methinks this might be... No, I shan't object. No amount of apologies on my part would suffice. Allow me to express my remorse through actions.
Scully's doing the thing again.
Grim, I shall carry you myself.
Wait, what?
I know this won't make up for what I've done. But I shall follow you everywhere and act as your hands and feet. I need to put you in a baby carrier.
No way! That'd just be a hassle. How about expressing your remorse materially instead, huh?
Hey, Scully. You're apologizing to Grim and you. Don't you owe me a few words as well?
Sebek! Yes, so I do. I owe you my deepest apologies. I admired how strong and steadfast you were, yet at the same time, I hated you a great deal. You're welcome to laugh at my foolishness and failing to understand my own heart. I certainly deserve it. But I hope that someday you'll find it in your heart to forgive me.
Certainly, I forgive you, human.
Whoa! Sebek's being really nice. Hey, are you an imposter?
Dun,
dun, dun.
We both made different Among Us noises.
Yours does better, though. Hello?
Mind your manners, tire beast.
They need to set up that old
Cookie.
Mr. Code. That old cookie.
I'm on my last few minutes here, just so you know.
That old cookie, why are you in such a rush to go?
I have to go to work tomorrow.
That cookie guy!
We're on the last couple chapters.
Come on, that cookie guy.
If I don't show forgiveness here, my tolerance would be called into question. After all, Scully, aren't you beside yourself with envy of me? Being envied by someone as bold and spirited as you is rather flattering, actually.
Even Throlin is encouraging you.
Come on,
Look.
cookie guy! You got this! Let's go, Throlin. Hydrate time,
Yeah.
sure.
And you hydrate too, that cookie guy.
Did you see the chat codes?
Yeah.
Say,
So you got
thank
it.
you, Throlin.
Thank you, Throlin.
Throlin that used to be spelled with 2 L's, but is now only spelled with 1.
What?
That's the lore.
That's interesting. I wonder why.
He was able to change it once every 6 months. The L had to go.
Apparently. We lore dropping now?
Yes.
I suppose so, you lovely personage. I'm so pleased we're able to put this behind us and move forward amicably.
Oh, that what he said. Oh.
Mwah.
I never said I'd permit that!
Leona, maybe?
Thought I heard someone smug yammering on.
Yeah.
Do you really have any room to talk about owing people things? Huh? Are you accusing me of something? Is there danger? And I haven't heard one word of gratitude so far, much less an apology. I said, isn't my gratitude obvious? Certainly you can tell from my demeanor.
His voice is different.
It's like
changed it.
It's a different voice actor now.
It has more of this in it.
Where did that come from, that
he
tired
talks that
guy?
way when he's like on the fence and like, oh, being defensive.
Okay.
No, not in the least. Ran out of budget for the original voice actor. Exactly, let's roll in. Ran out of budget. That's this other guy.
Hey, Jamil, you agree?
Absolutely. It was maddening watching Sebek constantly run off ahead with reckless abandon. Yet he hasn't said a word of thanks. I never knew Diasomnia had someone so rude in it.
Not you too, Jamil. You have my thanks.
That's the tiniest I've ever seen the text.
He barely said it. That was so quiet!
You never knew you could talk that quietly.
They had to make the text small to match it.
The real Sebek could never keep his voice so low. You've gotta be an imposter, imposter, imposter.
Yeah.
We better find the real one.
You're out of the screen again.
Why do I find it like a suitable place to be there?
It's just like 1/4 of your face.
Yeah. I saw that.
Which option did you say?
We better find the real one.
Man, we bet. Silence, all of you.
What delightful people these are! When I see them like this, it makes me think that maybe school isn't so bad after all. Once we go back to Twisted Wonderland, I'll... Is he gonna enroll in there in Night Raven?
Twist tune.
I hope it has words.
Happy Halloween. The 13th chapter. Dun dun dun. 13. Halloween Town Plaza. Enough about that. We need to finish decorating the plaza.
Oh, right. You were hanging banners, I believe?
Yes. Malleus and myself finished them. With Apple and Phil. Hold our magnificent banners.
Those banners.
You must be awestruck at their beauty, as you should be. These banners were crafted in the image of the dorms at our school. The noble dragon is the emblem of Diasomnia dorm, the one into which Malleus and I belonged. Diasomnia. This one represents Savannah Claw, where Leona is the house warden. And this one is Scarabia, where Jamil belongs.
Hey, I don't see Ramshackle represented.
Look more closely. See the ghost, human, and cat playing together next to the Night Raven College school emblem?
Oh, is that us? That ain't half bad, Sebek. You agree, right, Hunchhuman?
Thank you.
Diasomnia, Savannah Claw, Scarabia, Night Raven College.
What's wrong? Why are you muttering to yourself? Something bothering you?
No, nothing. Just... now I see. So that's how it was. It was all... Yes, of course. It truly was the hand of fate that steered me toward you lovely personages.
Are you looking for another beatdown?
Seriously, stop. I'm running out of wet wipes. Hey everyone! It's time to start the countdown! Come join us!
Hey, Jack's calling us over. Let's go!
Is everybody ready?
You bet, Jack.
You bet.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween!
Throw the best Halloween ever. Yeah. Where's the words? Talk about ran out of budget, Throwin. Ethel is so happy to be in the cauldron. Yeah. That was me dancing on fire. No way, Throwin. That's awesome. You look sick. Woo! Riddles Roseheart. Halloween is fear. Halloween is aspiration. Halloween is a nightmare of our own creation. The ideal I pictured was accurate, except there was more to it than what I imagined. Hi. What truly makes Halloween so marvelous is being able to share fear and joy with so many people. Only on Halloween do we experience such fright and delight. I'll spend the rest of my life spreading the word in Twisted Wonderland that Halloween is lively, loud, and lavish. Now, now. A deal's a deal. Tender lumplings everywhere.
Oh, wait, before we... I was gonna say, like, play the original on the stream, but I don't want the VOD to get, like, copyrighted.
It's okay, it's worth it.
What's going on?
He just woke up and he saw this.
Tender lumplings everywhere.
Life's no fun without
It's
a good scare. Don't worry.
Mac and cheese.
Don't worry, I'll fight the copyright. Thank you, Throlin. I have no worries now, knowing you're gonna take care of it. What are you doing, Stra?
Oh, I thought you were gonna pull it up.
I thought you were gonna pull it up.
Oh, oops. Oh, yeah, I'm on the wrong channel.
Are you gonna go to the Tender Lumplings one?
Yeah. So this is the original one. How it was supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
He's so good at that part.
Uh-huh.
It's Throlin.
Yes. Yeah. That's so good. They should have kept that.
No.
Tender lumplings everywhere.
Help. Okay.
Let's go. Yeah, it was Throlin. The Throlin cameo. Fastra, what are you doing?
It had to crash itself.
Like Life is Strange.
このジグザグとした縫い目。あの服のレオナさんはい。
Alright, so there's a total of 16 chapters. We're on 14. We're almost there.
You got this, Dad, old cookie. That cookie man.
What's this chapter called?
A deal's a deal. Halloween Town Plaza.
Thurlin has some lore.
It's canon to the lore that while I was dancing, they didn't have anyone to put the fire out, so I had to stay on fire for 2 shows.
Oh no.
Throwin. Just staying on fire like that. You're very committed to it, Throwin, I gotta say. Great Halloween, everybody! I believe it was our most horrible yet. Thank you, everyone. And a very special thanks to our guests from Twisted Wonderland.
It really was a wonderful Halloween.
I've never had such a raucous, giddy Halloween.
I'm just glad it all went off without a hitch. You fellows from Twisted Wonderland have breathed new life into Halloween Town. I couldn't be more grateful.
Glad to hear it. So, the deal's still on, right?
The deal? You said if we made Halloween a success, you'd help us find a way home. Oh, you want to go back to your world? Obviously.
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 Really? But you could stay and help out with next year's Halloween.
Exactly. What's the harm in staying for just one more year?
Halloween Town's a fun place, you know. I'd be willing to share some of my scientific insights.
Now, everyone. A deal's a deal. Where was that door to the human world? Hold on a minute while I go look for it.
I was too close. I was shocked and angered. I was ready to come to blows. Ditto. Good thing we got that commitment from Jack Skellington to start with.
No kidding. At least now, we can finally go home.
Going back home means I'll finally be free of you. What? Those puppy dog eyes ain't gonna make me feel bad, so don't even.
Feeling a little bad?
Not at all. I'm thrilled this nuisance won't bother me anymore.
Grim, we never would have found you without Zero. Don't be impolite. Zero, you are a fine helper indeed. Very well done.
He equipped him. Haha, getting attached to Sebek Zero? Guess there's no accounting for taste.
How can you smile while uttering such insults? I think they're a good pair, actually. Sebek looks more dependable than usual, with a trusty companion by his side.
Yeah, I can see it. Good for you, Sebek. You finally look like you belong in those clothes. Yeah.
Yeah. And first, they were the only thing about you that seemed remotely upstanding. Is that how you see me?
No need to bristle. It's a compliment. were saying you look good in that suit now.
These two make everything so difficult. Jack Skellington, have you found that door yet?
Do you think he found it or no?
Nope. This is going to be the beginning of a new chapter where they're permanently in the land of the nightmares.
Oh, yeah.
Halloween Town, the land of the nightmare.
Yeah, I like that name, Codes. What'd you hear, Codes?
Finally! I was sick and tired of having him follow me around everywhere.
Second.
What you doing, Doc Cookie Man?
I'm doing something really quick. Just a second.
You have to deal with some Dat Cookie Guy activities.
It's very important. You'll see.
Okay.
Far and wide. Do you see what I was doing?
Yes, it's a dog.
Huh?
Check your text.
Oh, right. She can't. Because she's screen sharing.
What's going on?
Far and wide.
Me when
I'm making stickers out of the game, out of the some of the characters in the story.
Aru says, me when I twisty my Wonderland.
Graveyard.
Found it! You should be able to go home to your world through this mausoleum.
Just a sec.
Fastra, have you ever seen my dog Yui?
You want us to go into a
I think, like, when back when you were streaming and like for every sub, then Yui got a treat. So there's like a little video, but I kind of forgot what Yui looks like. Is she like a white dog? I remember. All right, go Trey.
You want us to go into a mausoleum? Like, that's a totally normal, not scary at all thing to do.
You and her have a lot in common, because she too was terrified of the beep of the fire alarm running out of battery.
Aw, poor Yui.
Aw. She had the same reaction as you, Fastra. Just tick every single time. Just ah.
I hated it.
I'm glad she had you to help her, Aru. Sir Skellington, are you sure there's no other way? I think it'd take me a year to come up with any alternatives. Then this door is our only option. You sure this leads to Twisted Wonderland?
It would be rather unpleasant if it didn't. If it doesn't lead elsewhere, it would simply be a grave, potentially one with a prior occupant.
Please don't creep me out like that.
It won't be the same around here without you. You're always welcome to visit again. Ah, Mr. Jack Skellington. The master of fright, ruler of the night,
the Pumpkin King who reigns supreme over Halloween. Meeting you has been such an honor. It was a blast for me too, Scully. You love Halloween every bit as much as I do. So I bet you could become the King of Twisted Wonderland's Halloween. Mr. Skellington! I shall spread your idea of Halloween far and wide throughout Twisted Wonderland. I expect great things. Thank you! Ah, my idol! Please continue being exactly who you are forevermore.
Well, we can't stand around bulking forever. I'm going in. It's been lovely, Jack. Here's hoping we see each other again someday.
Well, time for some Moxie. It was fun. Thank you to everybody in Halloween Town. This was an invaluable experience. I hope you'll pay Twisted Wonderland a visit sometime.
Yes, likewise. We would return the hospitality you've shown us tenfold.
I've had enough of Halloween Town to last a lifetime, so peace, signing off. Sir Skellington, you've taught me much about proper gentlemanly conduct. I hope we meet again.
Everything was shocking, but it was also really fun in its own way. Thank you for everything.
Skellington, everyone else, thank you for your hospitality. Until we meet again.
My liege, wait for me! Well, it won't do us to just stand here. We're the only ones left. Let's go, Scully.
Scully, what's wrong? You're not moving. This is it. It's finally time to say goodbye.
It's all this now. Must you be so dramatic about everything? This door leads to Twisted Wonderland. It's just going to transport us all back to Foothill Town. You should visit our school sometime.
No, I can tell. I don't think I'll ever meet you lovely personages again. But we can always see each other whenever we like on Halloween. This was a genuinely delightful Halloween. Thank you, everyone.
What are you getting all emotional for? Come on, everyone, in the grave.
You don't have to shove. Whoa! Ah!
Thanks, everybody. Skeleton, thank you for hosting us. Give my regards to the others as well.
It's been a wild 4 days, but thank you for a fun Halloween.
That's everybody. Later. See you around sometime, Pumpkin King.
Goodbye, everybody. Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween.
Oh.
Oh.
Now, are you ready to find out the truth behind Scully?
Yes.
That was a big act. some dumb fun.
That's you, Cookie Guy.
Where am I? That was appropriate.
The wharf!
Aegis Island, foothill town. Where are we?
They're so bright now.
Foothill Town. Right. We went to the secondhand book fair and... What happened after that again?
Oh, whatever it was, I recall it being thrilling and delightful, but it's all terribly fuzzy.
I vaguely remember it being someplace rather dark and gloomy.
Yeah, the port seems awfully bright for some reason, which is weird for somewhere I'm so familiar with.
Personally, I'm kind of struck by how colorful everyone looks.
Didi-san.
It's strange. Our school uniforms seem out of place somehow, like we were just wearing something else.
Where? Huh? It appears we all have a strange gap in our recollection, myself included. And you, King Scholar?
Yeah, I got nothing. My head's all fuzzy. I can't remember a thing. Though for some reason I feel like that furball made a real mess of things.
What? I ain't done nothing. Don't go pinning anything on me.
It's hard to remember.
Is there anything suspicious around us? Seemingly not. So all of us lost consciousness, and we're not sure why? That should be terrifying, but for some reason...
I know what you mean. For some reason, it's not raising my hackles or bothering me. Is this everyone? It's the usual group, Malleus et al. But is that truly everyone? I feel as though someone else was present.
Aww. You better come back. Did anyone else just hear something that sounded like a smooching noise?
Yeah, the back of my hand started itching. Me the creeps. Whatever happened, it's weird. Let's all head back to school.
Right. Right.
Main Street.
Ah, you and Grim, welcome back. Wait, are you leading a parade? Did you all go on a merry outing together? Am I witnessing a miracle?
Trey and I just happened upon the others.
Even if we had all gone out together, it's nothing to make a production out of.
What are you up to, sir? You're carrying something big there.
Why, I'm so glad you asked. You see, I was rearranging the storage room and happened to find this old portrait. Have a look. The person here is from well before my tenure at Night Raven College. He graduated centuries ago. Halloween was a relatively minor event once upon a time, but he raised awareness of it all over the world. They say he built the foundation of the modern Halloween you enjoy each year. His name was Scully J. Graves. They called him the King of Halloween. He's the reason Halloween is so enjoyable for all of us now. Imagine this incredible individual is your upperclassman, albeit many generations of students removed. Doesn't it stir your pride, your delight? It certainly makes me proud as the school's head mage.
Why are you proud about somebody from ancient history? Ain't got nothing to do with you.
It most certainly does. He's a pride and joy of our school.
I've not heard any of this before.
It's understandable that you haven't. He wasn't terribly fond of taking center stage. As I understand it, he devoted the entirety of his efforts to traveling the world and celebrating Halloween each year. Though there are hardly any photos or portraits of him left, meaning this one is quite a rare find. And since I dug it out of storage, I thought it might be nice to hang it up in the school during Halloween and brag about it. What's the matter, everyone? You're all positively riveted to this painting. Are you truly that awestruck?
I suppose. I've never seen him before, but I feel like I know him. I see that smug face for some reason. I keep picturing the guy bawling his eyes out.
I know just what you mean, which is strange, considering this is the first I've ever heard of a King of Halloween. You know, somehow, seeing this portrait makes me even more eager for Halloween than usual.
Goodness, really? I suppose rare portraits have an impact all their own.
Yes, sir. I'll do everything I can to ensure Halloween at Night Raven College is as fun and lively as can be.
You're a regular simpleton. At least that's what I'd normally say. You know what? I'll chip in too. I'm in the mood for some dumb fun anyway.
We lost him.
Neither of you will get the chance. After all, I shall make this Halloween a more lively, loud, and lavish holiday than anyone has ever seen. Wear it by the King of Halloween. Really?
The end. Hey guys.
Hey.
Yes. The jack-o'-lantern
We
selection.
did it.
Woo! New furniture. Book cleared. Book 5, the final production. What's in the shop now? You unlocked legally prohibited vignette.
Background. Spiral Hill. Thank
you.
I'll change the background to Spiral Hill.
Yeah. There it is.
What are you talking about? Never seen this place before.
Oh wait, last thing, and then the cookie guy can go to bed. Gotta climb this.
これぞハロウィン。夢にまで見た異世界転生来たーと思ったけど、なんか想像と違う。
And here he goes on my screen. If he would just... There he is.
Nice.
Alright, that cookie guy, what'd you think about this story?
It was fun. And interesting how they incorporated nightmare.
Alright, he's
into it.
talking. Okay, what'd you say?
Interesting how they blended the Twisted Wonderland with the, Christmas. Oh.
With the Christmas?
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh.
And Throlin says, I think my dancing part was a true inspiration to the story.
Yeah.
With Christmas, Bob. What do you mean with Christmas, Bob?
He said, "What's Christmas?"
Oh.
And so next stream, or the next time we stream this,
yes,
we can perhaps read the side stories.
Oh yeah.
That go with the event story.
Yes.
But unfortunately, that cookie guy has to go to bed.
Twisted Wonderland X Christmas Bob for the banger crossover.
Yes.
How'd you know, Aru, that's gonna happen?
Any final words?
I look forward to our next Twisted Wonderland dub sesh.
Yeah.
We're actually gonna stream for 5 more hours doing the rest of the story. I mean, doing the rest of the vignette stories I have unlocked.
Every single one?
Yes, I have 37. Ooh.
Oh. It's more than 30. 24 hour stream win. Ooh. Now you're talking,
Right
Throlin. Yep, right now. It's gonna be awesome. Level it up. Aw.
I won't be unlocking all the goals at once, but...
Why not?
I haven't done to the Twist Tune goals yet.
Oh.
All right. Thank you for reading this with me.
You're welcome. That was a fun event. Do you have any last comments, Fastra?
The next event will be the Jade going to a wedding event where we get to see the Jade and Floyd's mom.
Oh, really? That's the next event?
Yeah.
Nice. I look forward to it.
I don't know what kind of voice I'll give to her, but we'll see.
Yeah. Okie dokie then. I'll see you next time, the Fastra.
Me.
And I didn't know he was that muted guy. Why is he here but muted? Is he brushing his teeth maybe?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I was making unseemly sounds.
If you ever find yourself kidnapped by someone and then you say that you actually think very highly of them, then you take care out there.
Take care out there.
to Oaxaca.
Yeah. I won that one. Someone needs to make a fucking